Hey, it's Rachel, and if you've seen any of my prior videos, you know that I love a good accidental experiment. I've got one for you today. The bed you can see behind me started as an intentional experiment. During our construction, I created this bed at the back of the property and I planted it with salad greens so that I could still get fresh harvests while I waited to put in the real garden. I put in arugula, spinach, lettuce, chard, kale, and mustard greens, and it did serve the purpose of providing me with some fresh harvests while I was lacking a real garden. Now it has turned into something pretty cool and accidental that I intend to do on purpose going forward, namely a dedicated bed for seed saving. What triggered this is a plant that I did not put into this bed intentionally. What I did not plant was borage, but as you can tell, a couple of volunteers came up. And believe it or not, I've actually whacked these back a couple of times, but it is doing what borage does, namely growing into a huge monstrous plant
and attracting an absolute ton of pollinators.
As the summer temperatures have come in, all of those greens that I planted in the back have started bolting.
And as you can see, the bees have found my salad green flowers as well.
And I decided, you know what? Let's combine the borage plant attracting the pollinators with my bolting greens and repurpose this as a seed-saving bed. The first thing I had to do after deciding to use it this way, and what you will have to do, was to go through and make sure that I removed anything that would trigger cross-pollination. I will put a chart up here of common salad greens and plants and what cross-pollinates with what. I covered this more in depth on my video on seed saving, but suffice it to say, I had to go through this bed and clear out anything that might cross-pollinate. I made sure to keep only one of each species that might cross-pollinate. Example here with lettuce. This is a little gem butterhead lettuce, believe it or not, that has bolted like crazy. Got another one here, starting to form flowers. I pulled out every other kind of lettuce that was in the bed to ensure that I only get this variety. Similarly, I have a ruby chard that's bolting and coming up here, and I pulled out all the other chard in the bed and just left this one. As it sets flowers and is pollinated, I can save those seeds. I've got spinach back here, and the spinach that overwintered really beautifully. And last, mustard. I have two mustard plants over here in full flower. They're starting to set seed. You can see here at the base all of these seed pods that are starting to form. The second thing I had to do, as you can probably see from behind me with this chicken wire, was to provide a very basic level of protection for the plants while they're continuing to grow and set seed. One quick note on a challenge with a seed-saving bed. As you can tell, when the plants bolt, they get really tall. I mean, this mustard is a great example. I'm gonna go ahead and use that length of PVC back there just to flatten that down and keep it a little shorter. I do need to keep this bed covered and protected, and that's for two reasons. One, I have a bunch of rabbits back here, and they will absolutely come in and decimate the lettuce there before it gets a chance to set seed. And two, I still have kale back here. This kale was just planted this year. It's not going to set seed. I'm protecting the kale not only from rabbits, but also from cabbage moths. This time of year, they are still very active in the garden, and I don't want to have to come out and spray this with BT every single day. One quick note on biennials. I mentioned I planted kale in here. It's part of why I have it covered right now to protect it from the moths. Kale is a biennial and it flowers its second year. If you want to save seeds from anything that is in the biennial category, go ahead and plant it in your seed saving bed this year, get harvest off of it, leave it alone, and then come back next year and treat it as a seed saving opportunity. There you go, safely tucked away under a little Fort Knox of chicken wire that's nailed down to the bed on the edges. This is not the most attractive thing in the world, I'm not gonna lie. If, like me, you want to start a seed-saving bed on a regular annual basis, you, like me, might want to put it away at the back of your property or someplace else where your neighbors can't see it. But a simple cover of chicken wire, as you can see, easily lets the pollinators in, and it seems to be doing a really good job of keeping the cabbage moths off of my kale. And another happy accident that I think you'll find happening in your own bed, I had a bunch of arugula in here that already finished setting seed and was fully dried and mature. I took all of that out, I saved the pods in the process and kind of broke them down and put them in a bowl. And as you can see, in the process, inevitably, I dropped a bunch of seeds and I now have a second crop of arugula starting in this bed. That's it. As always, I hope it was helpful, quick one, but I am pretty excited about this and I will do it on a very intentional basis every year going forward. Thanks.